Hello, everyone. I'd like to give a hearty undead walking welcome to Jose Pablo Cantillo. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. It's much appreciated.
No, thanks for having me, Adam.
You're best known to fans of The Walking Dead for your role as Caesar Martinez, but you've also been a part of many other successful projects like Son of Anarchy and Standoff. What's the major difference between working on The Walking Dead aside from those other projects?
Well, they're all, yeah, I've been very lucky because they're very character-driven projects like Sons of Anarchy or Chappie or Elysium. You know, the characters were very, very different, and so what you have to call upon within your own experiences to help flesh out the tactics that will help get those characters their due ultimately in the universe and the world of the play, the imagined circumstances, is different. And so your experience, of course, always is different. And also the time span with some of these projects, changes your perspective as to what you're bringing to it. So, for example, with Sons of Anarchy, I played this character who is Hector Salazar, who was kind of a punching bag. He was kind of a walker on that show. He was always kind of walking around half dead and getting beat up episode to episode, and he needed to be put out of his misery. Poor guy. He was kind of bullied by the Sons, but it was still a really fun show to work on. I mean, motorcycles, leather, and you get to sit at work and you're rewarded for it. But it was very much like a grown-up male soap opera, and the tone, very profound, extreme circumstances, but different than The Walking Dead. But back in '09, my second daughter had just been born.
Nice. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It was 20 minutes from set, and I'm the type of actor who, whatever is going on, you just bring it with you, and there's some truth in leaving things at the door, and you leave meaning I don't, self-indulgent if you just kind of come to work to cry today. That's not me. But what I mean is, you have relationships on set with people, and whatever you're feeling, whether it's a quote-unquote a sad scene, but you feel like laughing, well, that emotion very much is encompassed in that scene. It's really interesting. You go to a funeral, sometimes people crack up laughing at funerals, and so, you can actually, you can't deny that emotion, and you just have to embrace it. So my daughter had just been born, and I was on cloud nine, and I was happy, and I couldn't wait to go see my baby. And even though you watch the show, you say, well, boy, you look really terrorized and beat up in that show. How does I failed to see how. But the truth is, I was actually very happy-go-lucky. I got to go home 20 minutes to go see my family. Well, with Walking Dead, very different was the fact that I have to get on a plane and door to door 10 hours later I would be checking into the Dolce over there in Sonoya, Georgia, and I'm now on my way to Woodbury. So you're away from your family, and that can really serve the story in a good way as well, because now you're not worrying about the traffic and the odd mundane little trivial things of your day to day, and you could focus just on how do I make this character go to that next level and serve the story. So with Walking Dead, what was different about it, particularly with Woodbury, was that it filmed in a real town that was boarded up 360 degrees, and it did look like a really quaint, cute zombie apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic town. And the town remained open, so all these townspeople were still carrying about their day. So one of my favorite things about it is, and there's no short answer really to that question, is that it's the world that you're in at the time that you're at, and it spans 8 years, 9 years later. It's different. So I would be on my mark, and you do a take or you do blocking rehearsal. Okay, we have 10 minutes to move the lights and stuff, and you say okay. So you go into this boarded looking building, and you open it, and inside, because you can still access all of these businesses from the outside, from behind, the town just embraced us, of course, and they, burning tires and everything, but it's like they were set up around to enter the building from other areas, and you walk in, there's people carrying on and having a real life, and you're like, this isn't just like a set where, you walk in the back lot and you open the door and it's cardboard, and you go to the back and it's just plywood. It's like you walk in and there's people caring about their day and people reading newspaper, people laughing, and they give you that heads up, what's up, Jose? Hey, what's going on? And so you order your coffee and you sit down for a second, and you have a chat, which has nothing to do with the scene you're working on, which is nice because it really feels like you didn't have to act, which is funny because in Sons of Anarchy, it's not fantasy, it's there's themes that are big that exist in California, and it's very much crime families and gang life and territory,
Absolutely.
and it was very far from who I am, if I'm loving family man who occasionally paddles out and likes to surf, it's just like a very different vibe. Yet that was more difficult a way to kind of really kind of get there and go to some of those places and use, like I said, humor and the fact that I wanted to smile to get to that next level of really getting to a darker area, I should say. With this one, it was much easier with Walking Dead because of how seamless the set was, and that was my experience in The Walking Dead. You're walking through the woods on my very first day of arriving in Atlanta or in Sonoya to be introduced with Caesar, along with the reintroduction of Merle, of Rooker, and it was such a great episode for that reason. I really feel honored and lucky to have been introduced during that time when the governor came into play and Andrea Michonne was coming to the forefront. It was such a cool time to be there. So we're in the woods, and again, just a lucky universe, or it's a happy universe, perfect universe, where Guy, the director, his name's Guy, set me to say, okay, you will get out of the truck around here. There's no truck yet. You stand here. And he kept going around and placing people and saying, okay, this is kind of more or less where our master will be. And I looked down, and my boots are just shiny wet. And I was like, socks, just soaking wet. I said, I remember stepping through a puddle, and I look again, and I realize that it's moving. That my black boots are covered in some very large ants that are moving up my pants, my underwear, in my shirt, on my hat, and I was like, oh. And this was day one, his first day of school. Nobody knew who I was, and out here I was supposed to be one of the badasses for the season. And I slowly start tiptoeing off my mark, take off my hat. Ooh, I think I got bit once. And they all bite at the same time, and they were everywhere. I took my shirt off, and my next shirt, I think there was an undershirt, and my pants, my boots, and my socks, and my underwear. I'm bare naked in the van now, transferring, and everyone's like, wait a minute, what's going on with this? Who's this guy? Why is he completely streaking naked on day one? So even though I guess the alternate universe of The Walking Dead hazed me on day one, it was nice because it did put me into, these are the details that you don't think about. Yeah, there's walkers, and there's difficult, there's no electricity and running water, and you're finding canned food. You're going to eat dog food. What are we going to eat? But there's all the other elements that you just don't fake on that show. You just don't. You really are in thick wood, and there's a downpour. There's, like a mini mudslide. I think one of the crew workers got struck by lightning, and it's like, goodness, you guys, this is an intense show. And then we get to the town, and you're like, oh, well, this is nice. And everywhere we go at lunch, I go to my favorite pizza place in Sonoya, which I still miss. And then after work, you hang out with some people at the pub, get to know, and they didn't make such a big deal about it. You just really became like a citizen of the town of Woodbury, really. And then another one like Sinchapi. I was in Johannesburg, South Africa, and so I guess in many ways, I guess if I had to give a short answer, which there really isn't, it's like what was different about them.
Right.
For me, it's really been the world and the location. The location. I've been very fortunate in my career that the locations have served the story and have really helped inform me, Jose Pablo Cantillo, how to act and move about the imaginary circumstances of the play. And so with Chappie, I'm in Johannesburg, South Africa. I've never been there. The accents are very different. The food is fantastic, but it's again also markedly different. And we're filming in an old abandoned power station, which is like the size of like the Pentagon. And after we filmed, by the way, the whole thing collapsed.
Oh wow.
The people were trapped, and it was. But again, I say that just because the location was very extreme,
Yeah.
and but beautiful. It was like that. It was something. What do you call it? When something, it's like this decay, but somehow there's beauty in the decay, and so hopefully my career will continue to take me to places that allow me to not have to act.
That'd be fantastic. 'Cause I love seeing you on the screen and on my television. And it was interesting that in that first answer you talked about the scene with the truck. Because I had
Yeah.
one of my writers on the site wanted me to ask you a question about that particular scene.
So
She
on
wanted
the
me,
on the scene when I was on the truck with sorry, which I'm sorry, again.
yeah, she wanted me to ask you about when the truck when the governor was turning on his own people,
Oh, got it.
and you ended up backing yourself up into the truck, and you had this look of just absolute horror on your face. She was wondering how you even got to that point to be able to make that expression.
Well, what was cool about it, and that's a great question, and I am asked that a lot because it really wasn't really scripted. It wasn't in there, and there's so many moving parts to that scene where
Right.
she just clears some people, then he goes out in the field and clears a few more, and then he turns on us. And so you don't really know how they're going to cover it necessarily because there's so many, like Alan, unfortunately, and my dear friend Daniel, he bought it that day, which was like, oh, Daniel takes it, and so that was one of the things that was playing on as well. I was like, oh, I don't get Daniel anymore, but you don't know how they're going to cover it. They start doing bits and pieces, and they have to go in special, which is clean of all us. So a lot of times when he goes and he puts headshots of certain people, these actors oftentimes aren't even there because the cameras need to be there.
Right.
And so we're always kind of standing by, and you're kind of watching how all this is going down, and you have to keep a placeholder to, okay, in the geography of this thing, we're right behind him. Why wouldn't we shoot him at this point? Or why would we defend ourselves? Why would we run off? Why would we take cover? And so the camera's going to turn. If the camera, so I was talking to Tila of Shumpert and I, so if the camera does come back around to us, because it's going to have to, because it's like, how do you explain it?
Right.
Why would we not have intervened? Why wouldn't we have run for the hills? What's going on here? And so if the camera, and hopefully it does, comes back around to a place that addresses that, what does that look like? And we had some time to just discuss, where we would be at this time. And we didn't really discuss it with the director of the house. We just like, let's just go and tell it, hopefully, this is what it's better to always ask. Instead of discussing and letting a big thing happen with everybody, it's just better just to show them and then they adjust you. At least they give you something either to love or to hate. And so I think it was literally one take. They came around, they found us there, and we were picking up because we had been considering this. We didn't answer the question, where are we? But it was just enough just to consider it, just to think about it, just the obligation of you having to act that, of saying what would be going through your mind right now, in some ways is enough for it to translate on camera, which is someone trying to do a very difficult math problem and being shocked right now at the same time. How do you figure out a long division problem while you're in a car accident? And that's kind of what it felt like. Here is everything we built up and worked for, gone by the person that we trusted the most. And just saying that enough makes me emotional, to be honest with you. And I think of almost like a big brother complex. I always looked at the Martinez-governor relationship like a adopted, almost like if you're an orphan, like everyone's really orphaned and stranded in this post-apocalyptic zombie world. And,
Absolutely.
So you form these friendships and you become fast friends or fast family. And the governor, Philip, was my big brother. If you're in a gang mentality of banding together, and I think Martinez was alive only because of Philip's, at the time, the governor's intervention and him pulling him up and saying, you lost your family, but we need you, and you need, they need you so they don't die in vain. Let's kill these things. Let's figure, and to kill for sport, to go out and clear these things. The first time I'd seen that on The Walking Dead, to where there's a band of badasses that go out and just clear these things out and kill them all the time. It's like, It's like, yes, I like that idea. And for him to kill them, it's like it's still family in a way. So I can't shoot him, but at the same time, he might shoot me. And doing that, figuring out that math problem, believe it or not, was enough, or at least I hope it was enough to tell that story.
Yeah, that scene was such a turning point in that story. It was unbelievable to see the reactions and the scene play out itself. And that might be one of the most memorable scenes that fans have of yours. But is that the most memorable scene that you've had while working on the show?
I had some great moments that I really love that I'll share. In season 3, episode 13, I did this sort of, who can kill a zombie the coolest and best sort of way with Daryl. We pop out our chests and say, I can kill one this way. And there was a back and forth there that was an absolute blast. Norman is so much fun. He's just a fun guy to be around, and he's very generous as an actor, and he gives so much, and he's very daring and goes for it. And so it was fun to square up with him because we all met our doppelganger counterpart, whatever you want to call it, on that day. They call it the War Council Day. Rick and the governor. And then you have Milton and the doc. It was very cool to see who's squaring up to. And I said, well, who do I square up with? They said, Dale. I'm like, really? Oh, that's nice. Okay, what goes on here? And so we had that zombie kill-off day, and it was a wonderful day to be an actor because, one, you get to wield a bat and look cool, and there is that taking time out from all the stuff that's so heavy going on inside the barn where the governor and Rick are the sheriff, right? They're discussing some really heavy, the negotiations, like, I want Michonne. I want, what do we need you to get to leave this alone? And there was heavy stuff going on there, but outside, the children are playing, and you get this sense that if in a different world, or even before the zombie apocalypse had hit, these two guys might have been in a bar, shared a drink together.
Very well could have.
Shared a smoke together.
What was it like working with guys like Norman Reedus and David Morrissey and Michael Rooker, all these guys that have this real established background, and for a lot of intents and purposes, you've been around a long time, but you're just recently getting a lot of exposure, and your time on The Walking Dead has helped that out quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So what has working with those actors really helped you bring to your acting game?
Well, what's so cool is you're aware of their work, and they have, however, they just bring something new every time, and they have such presence, and they're leaders, and they drive the scenes because they're veterans, right? And they know great camera techniques, they know their lines, they're professionals, but they do it with such fun. It doesn't seem like it's a job to them. They've been doing it so long, and you could tell, that they're just every bit as enthusiastic today as they were, doing theater, who knows, where in England or where Michael Rooker started in Chicago. It's just, all of that enthusiasm is still there. I mean, watching Rooker block out a fight scene looks like, 2 5-year-olds wrestling with their dad.
Nice.
He has so much fun. Like when we did episode 5 of season 3, we had to be in the arena, this quasi semi MMA WWE fight where it's tongue in cheek to the crowd was brutal. I mean, that was a long 12-hour, overnight shoot, but it was fun. We were coming up with moves. Russell Towery, the stunt coordinator, he let us bring, our own martial arts background into the moves. And Rook, you kind of got this idea that Rook would be doing this in the backyard, whether there was cameras or not. I mean, the guy's very physical, and he's very easily excitable. I realize that if you kind of feint a punch, or it's a cut, and you kind of like throw a little extra jab in, he'll take it to the next level and sweep your leg or kick you or really head. I mean, he goes, and then the next level, and then all right, you guys need to cool it, And so he likes to feel it.
Just trying to bring out that little extra, huh?
You always like to go a little for a little extra. And with David Morrissey, what you see in rehearsal and what you see in take one is going to be way different in terms of he's going to hit his mark, he's going to hit his lines, He knows where the cameras are. He knows where you are, of course, and the function of what the scene is. But he's going to find something that's very spontaneous and new in the moment. And and then take two he's going to hit all those beats that you have to hit, but he's going to do it with something new completely that you got to be ready. And he's very laid back between takes. And in some ways, it's actually, very similar to the way I approach it. I'm very, very laid back and easygoing between takes. I play a lot of villains. I played a lot of villains in my career. But once camera, is action, I need to be somewhat introverted in order to really be able to go out and explode during a take. And I liked seeing that was something that he applied and approached the governor with. And then Daryl is just, man, he's just fun to be around. He's got this kind of like this, strong, silent, Clint Eastwood thing going on that really is earned. He's been doing it a long time. There's a scruff to him and a hard edge that really is real. But, he's very charming and charismatic, and you want to be around him, and you want to have fun, and, that one-upmanship that has to happen in that scene, he's very organically. And he's game for anything. And he'll accept the challenge and give one out, and then afterwards say some of the most ridiculous, funny things you've ever heard. So, very lucky with having worked with those three big personalities.
Yeah, the show seems so professional yet relaxed. It's such a strange barrier to see those two things joined together and just create this amazing show. But it's that level of professionalism combined with how easy it seems to come for the actors, just because of chemistry and how the relationship between the actors, it seems to just come to life on the screen so easy.
And it has to start and end really with the writing. It's just and then I know that's we talk a lot about the fun stuff, like what's on the screen. But boy, I tell you, the writing has been so good on The Walking Dead since day one. And I know there's been a few command post shifts, and each one has picked up the torch and really accepted the challenge well, because the writing is so good.
Yeah.
And the relationships the tension is so taut that it makes it fun to play against the tension sometimes, and play against what is there on the line sometimes, and to really give you room to explore. And what's nice is they get the best directors, and they give you room. They give you room to play because the writing is there, that there is room for interpretation. And those little choices that you make as an actor collectively move it in a certain direction that it needs to go because of what everybody else is doing. And that's when you could be making something special or be a part of something special, because everybody's on point, taking care of what they can do, but yet open to everybody else. Bless you.
Thank you. Season 4, Episode 7 had a quote from Martinez that I absolutely loved. You said, "There are some things you can't come back from. They become a part of who you are. Either you live with them or you don't." That quote is something that I think of all the time when I think of The Walking Dead and how it can apply to everyday life. Do you ever think of that line that way, or is that something that you feel just kind of pertains to The Walking Dead?
Oh, no. That's definitely something I think about that just pertains to life. Because we're in the game of entertainment, right? And in entertainment, the stakes are always so high for us. It's like it's feast or famine in this business, right? You don't know what you're doing tomorrow, and you're going out and you're testing for shit. And it's not just auditioning and acting and coming up with you're going to be in this next project or not, but you do campaign and you start to become emotionally invested with certain characters, and you go into these rooms, and the rooms get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you get closer and closer to a big yes, right? And sometimes you make these choices, and either you stick to your guns, or sometimes you don't, or whatever the deal is, and you have to leave it in the ring, as they say. And but you have to either come back from it or you don't, because if you don't come back from it, you're going to be stunted. You're not going to grow as a performer or as an actor. Or as a human being, really, if you are stunted and toiling with, shoulda, woulda, coulda, or it was right there, and instead you have to take that and use it, and you're only as good in some ways as your last audition, not even your last job. It's really, as an actor, it's that collective. It's like, okay, how did I feel that last time out, and there are some things, and even movies that you do get, and you go and you do something, you say, well, you know what? I should have done it this way, or I should have done it that way, or this movie didn't get to see the light of day, and it can certainly haunt you and wrestle with you. And actually, Michael Cutlets, who's we shared the screen on Standoff for a season, and we were passing ships on The Walking Dead. We almost were there.
So close.
I see him at the conventions now, and I run into him every once in a while, and he's a great guy, and we've kept in touch. And he said something really cool back when I got in Standoff, and there was something, a movie, I can't remember what it was, and he's like, look, man, don't sweat it. He said, you've been here for a while, you're not going anywhere, and at the end of the day, when your career's over, he's like, you're going to have a body of work that you're going to be proud of. And isn't that what you're building? And you're not just building a one-hit wonder. That's not what you want. You want a body of work, and as you win some and you lose some. And so coming back to what you said, it's like, and that, again, it applies to all kinds of stuff. I look at my daughter when she's competing in martial arts or track or tennis, and or even her relationships that she's having. It's like there are certain things that you can come back from or you don't. And in some ways, it is that simple to make a choice to say, you know what, I got to take another step out and either dare to lead again, love again, put yourself out there and act again, and you have to take that next step and put yourself out there again. So at least that's the way I put it. And what about yourself?
That line to me, it really helps encourage me to take steps towards some of the things I've ever done. Like I have had personally, I'm a college dropout. I never quite finished college, and I was taking quite a few writing courses, and I never quite got to finish them at the university level. And I was stuck in a job where I felt like I wasn't making any impact and nothing was changing. And after moving on from that job, I decided to go forward with trying my writing. And even though I had failed in the past before at the college level, I wanted to pursue that a little more. And it's the failures in the past, like when I was getting some of those poor grades on some of my papers, I would take those and I'd learn from them. And that's the kind of thing that I took from that quote is, sure that you have to live with some things, but you learn from them as well.
And you have to fail.
Absolutely.
In order to succeed. You have to. It's only, like you said, it's the only way to really internalize a lesson that you need to be able to carry forward that will come to play and make your work better again, and not just as an artist, but as a human being.
Absolutely. You made some references to the comic conventions and show conventions, and you make appearances at those sometimes. What's your favorite thing about being face-to-face with some of the biggest fans of the show?
Their enthusiasm. They're excited. They're happy. That's the one thing that's cool about Walking Dead fans. And these conventions I go to, it's because of The Walking Dead. I mean, I've been in a lot of other sci-fi, some really cool sci-fi and on-genre properties and projects, but it's really The Walking Dead that's allowed me to hit these conventions, some like Walker Stalker, which are strictly, or not strictly, but more centered and focused, of course, on Walking Dead.
Absolutely.
And the one commonality that fans have all around the world with The Walking Dead is that they are very, very happy, and it's just contagious. They celebrate everything. I mean, you've asked some great questions, and I can tell you're a great writer because of it. You know what to ask, and so they, these fans of The Walking Dead, they're good. They're good fans. They ask those, like, there's moments as an artist that you don't think anyone's watching, and you do it for, you do it for the sake of the character and the world that you're in. But like, hey, whatever. It's like whether someone caught it or not, it was there. It's like, wow, a lot of fans caught that moment when you're backing up to the truck.
Right.
You got your finger on the trigger. It's very layered, and hey, that's nice that you cut that. You know, it's wonderful. And then they catch other moments when you're on top of the RV and when you're with Daryl, it's like, boy, you guys have really dissected this. And so you're surprised, one, because you think, okay, they're here, and for them it's like, they read the comics, they watch the show, and they see you. They don't know what you're going to be like in real life. It does. No, it's not a two-dimensional meeting where they're just like, oh, I just wanted to get a picture with you. No, it's not that at all. They want to interact with you.
Absolutely.
They want to talk about and celebrate those moments, and that's the best part for me is the work that we bring and that we go into it. Is now highlighted. Repeatedly, and what's very cool is that they then archive, or they're archaeologists, right? They go backwards into your work, and they'll go watch. I did season 3, they'll go watch an entire season of Sons of Anarchy just because I was in it, and now the work I've been working on for the last 10, 11 years, on mood, film, and TV, is now being celebrated. Crank and Elysium, and I'm getting questions about all of my other work because of The Walking Dead and because of these conventions and the fans that are amazing and they're fantastic, and because of the hiatus, and it's like you said before, with going off in February, with the Vikings, it's like, well, what do I do now? They'll go back and they'll say, well, Martinez was good in this. I thought, well, let's see if he's good in this as well, and then they find some. They become fans of other work you do, and it's nice to see that work gets celebrated because of Walking Dead. So
I have to admit, I haven't seen you on Sons of Anarchy. It's one of those shows that I've never really watched, but talking to you today has really kind of pushed me in the direction to want to check that out.
Oh, right on. That's cool. It's a good boy. You won't be sorry. And what's it's kind of like a gift to find out. Wait a minute. It's a double-edged sword. Okay, the show is done, so that means I can consume the whole thing.
Absolutely.
And not have to wait. But at the same time, when you get into it, you can oh no, I only have this many left, and then it's gone forever. So it's a double-edged sword, because I actually didn't watch the show when I was on. I mean, I watched up until I was on, and I couldn't watch myself in that one for some reason, and it's sometimes it comes and plays on you. There's certain characters it's very difficult for you to watch because it is intense, and that character, boy, was he intense. And so finally I did go back and watched it. Now the season is over, and I finally had been away from it long enough that I could be hooked as just a fan. And now I geek out on it when I see my old castmates. If I run into them, I start asking them. That's like, but dude, you were on the show. What are you asking these questions? You saw how we made the show, and I've been able to suspend my disbelief because it was so long that I was on it. Or long ago, just now the show's over. So enjoy it and let me know what you think.
I definitely will. Now, you have some good projects coming up, too. I saw that you have a Kickstarter for a new project called Free Me, which is a card game. It's already over 85% funded, so all it needs is that little extra drop in the bucket to finish it off. What can you tell us about Free Me?
So Free Me, the game, is a card game, as you mentioned, that highlights some of our favorite embarrassing moments people have on social media. Both embarrassing behavior and annoying behavior people have on social media. We've taken all of our favorite moments from those and put them into cards, and all original illustrations with very carefully crafted posts and hashtags to really create standalone, satirical, almost comic strip, really. And there's nearly 40 of these blenders in a box that looks like an iPhone box, and they're all framed like they're in a phone. So, and also included in the deck are all these social media disaster cards, and I'll get into what they mean, and these black card challenges. So you really get a really hefty, meaty game when you get into the game. But the idea of the game is to help you kick your social media habit. And but it's all fun, tongue-in-cheek kind of a way. But there is some real heart behind it as to why we made the game and how it started. The idea of the game is to lose your friends and lose your followers so you can win the game. So where everybody is now focused and driven to gain more friends and followers, gain more exposure, gain more, ears and eyes all the time, and more connection through and by say connection, I mean quote-unquote connection.
Right.
There's just so much noise. What do you do, though, to unplug? And so we said we just turn this thing on its head. So it's almost like social media war, really, where you play with 2, 3, or 4 people, and even more than that if you want to team up. And but let's say there's just 3 of us playing. We evenly distribute the cards face down, and we each draw a black card, and we put that face down. We can't see what it is. What that
card,
is.
By the way.
Sorry?
I love that black card, by the way.
Okay, I'm glad, because the black card is something mildly embarrassing that you're going to have to do on your actual social media if you lose. Meaning, if you're still popular and you still have friends and followers when the game is over, you're going to have to do something on your actual social media. But in order to establish a connection, we're going to require everyone to take their phones and put them face down on the table. And if it buzzes and tries to talk to you, that's okay, but it's not okay to look at it. So if you look at the screen at any time, you draw an extra black card. And if you want to take that chance and draw the extra black card, do it. If you're waiting on a hot date or something, I guess, or that absolute must-see text. If you're winning the game and you're pretty confident you're going to win, you can take a risk. But otherwise, if you lose, someone comes from behind, you're now facing extra black card penalties for it. So round by round, each player plays one of these blunders. And the basis of it really kind of started when we were in New York, Jeff and I was recalling a basic theater game to help establish connection. And you have to start on a very basic level because we all have programmed in us these social niceties that that manifest themselves in the form of nonverbal behavior. The nods and the scrunching of our eyebrows, and right. I know what I want to say now, even though you're not done saying what you're saying. And our attention spans are all over the place. So it's like, okay, we need to create a game that at the very beginning and the base level is going to just, no words, let's just get them interacting so they get into a rhythm. So that's where at the very crux of the core of it is that moment-to-moment, fast-paced interaction, almost like war, where each blunder or annoying behavior drives away a certain amount of friends and followers. For instance, this one's online, and one of my favorites. There is a girl who's taking a cute selfie, a duck face selfie, those duck lips everybody's doing now, but she forgets that there's a mirror behind her, and it captures that, reveals that she's actually on the can. And, she's a toilet selfie. And that's a real blunder that we've observed many times online. And so that's going to drive away a certain amount of friends and followers. So there's a number in the top left corner with an FF. Now, I play you, Adam, and you lay down in a quick fashion. So we're not really reading and absorbing everything that's on the cards yet. So then you lay down one that's, you accidentally liked a bikini picture of your sister.
Oh, no.
And it's like, oh, no, exactly. And then, of course, there's the icing is the hashtag family comes first, because he's got his box of tissues and he's in his boxers and he was up to no good and he accidentally stumbled onto that picture. So that's just some annoying behavior. That's a blunder. That's going to lose you, say, 600 friends and followers. So I drove away more friends and followers. Mine was worse, and so we're kind of keeping up the pace. I get to take your cards now and add them face down to my deck, and then the third person would have gone somewhere in there as well, and they only drove away so many friends and followers. Now, we're establishing just this rhythm, just looking at each other, focusing on one spot. Now that we've established a connection, now we can layer something on, just like our theater games we used to play, and now we can have quick wit that is based on what's happening in the moment. There's no cameras around. You can't capture this stuff. It's just brilliant because it's fun in the moment. That is going to require us to, how well do we know each other in a way? So now let's say we play another blunder, and you and I play a blunder that has the same number of friends and followers that it's driving away, 700. So that sparks an ad-lib improv battle, a hashtag battle, or a blah, blah, blah battle. So now these are target-rich environments that are established in the cards. So there's so much there to make fun of and comment. So since you and I matched numbers, we look at the third person. He says, go. you and I now we have 30 seconds to either write down, or we can say, I like to write it down. We write down in one of these battles our hashtag. So we finish off the punchline on these cards, we put it face down, and I'm thinking, like, if I'm playing with my buddy Jeff, I know what his humor is,
right.
and so it's going to change based on who I'm playing with, so I'm going to slide that over, and sometimes I just want him to say something ridiculous, and he flips it over, and he says them out loud. He rereads the post. Now we get to enjoy what's on the card. He reads the post, then he adds one of our hashtags, and he decides who wins. And when you win that round, you get a highly coveted power down card. So everything's thoroughly about either disconnecting from social media or disconnecting from your phone. So you get one of these power down cards, and you're on your way to getting an advantage using your quick wit to get a power down card and absorb these cards. So the next time we meet up, now it changes every time. There's a blah, blah, blah battle. You become an expert. Because the thing about social media is that everybody has an opinion or a criticism to make. Well, now you're trying to do it in real time to a judge to make them laugh. And so you become an expert on one of the blunder's topics that's covered, a topic that's covered in the blunder that's face up. And you have 30 seconds to be an expert. Now you're the host of your own YouTube channel, and you're commenting on these blunders. It's very funny where this improv can go and how elaborate it really gets. So again, from a place of a basic connection where everybody's really connected, getting past those social niceties, to now being able to do more, edgy, biting, snarky humor, because you've forgotten really that your phone is even on the table, and that's another way to win. And then finally, there's these slap chat cards. Rather than Snapchat, everything's a parody, right? There's these slap chat cards, and your hand-eye coordination can come and really be an advantage. So there's multiple ways to enjoy the game. Right out of the box, you can go through and read, nearly all 40 of their blunders. And if you never do anything else again, they're fantastic. They've got artwork that's very similar in his vector, clean style, kind of like Archer, with again very biting, posts and humors. It's satire, and you can read all 40 of them. It comes in a cool box. You put it on your coffee table. It's always a really great conversation starter. Oh, I've seen people do this, But then beyond that, you play the game, you get connected with everybody around you, you make each other laugh, and there's some really great mom cards and ex cards and soccer cards, which I won't go into just right now unless you really want to know how they work, or maybe you just have to get the game to find out how they work. And that's fantastic. But the third, and in some ways the most way you can really enjoy this game is to play it all the way through, to see who loses. The person who still has friends and followers that basically they've lost all their cards, or they were the first to not get any power down cards, they have to face that black card, that mysterious black card that's in front of them. You flip them over, and that's something mildly embarrassing they have to put and post to their actual social media. And that's the stake. That's where the shoe drops. You're like, what do I have to do? And you flip over the card, and it could be something like a physical challenge, which you can get away free and easy, which, it's fun, but it's like you have to bark your favorite love song and post it and dedicate it to someone randomly. Or, you have to break up with your phone in a, really overly dramatic telenovela fashion. And we've done these, and it's, depending how far you really want to take it, it's really funny. I think Jeff was slapping his phone last time he broke up with it. It was really ridiculous. And a lot of comments come right afterwards. And telenovela style. So it get really ridiculous. You can paint, make you into a caveman in some of these physical challenges. Then there's the things that you have to say to people in contacts. We call it Smingo, social media bingo. Again, these are all black card challenges. So if you were to lose, Adam, I would say, Adam, take out your phone, or flip it over, go into your contacts. I'm going to say a letter, and it's all written on the cards what you're supposed to do. E3. Okay, so you go down to the letter E, you count down to the third contact, and there is Ethan.
Okay.
Oh, no. You're like, oh, no, not Ethan. Okay, so what do I do with Ethan? You flip over your black card, and you must do a quick 10-second little video post saying, Ethan, flip over the card, and you fill in the blank. Why don't you come over and watch the Crying Game again? I think it really helps.
Yes.
Or C6. Chris, I think you should wear tighter pants. Okay, these random out of nowhere comments that, you can soften it, of course, by putting hashtag Black Card Challenge. And if someone investigates, why does Adam think I need to wear tighter pants? And they say, oh, free me the game. And of course, it helps with the viability of the game and marketing. But it's not just that. It's also, hey, let's not take ourselves so seriously online and play a game where you're actually connected with some people that have some stakes. And that's the real stakes, because people treat the social media so preciously these days. It's like,
sure do.
I got to craft the perfect post. I got to take, it's like, I saw someone take out, this was hilarious. I saw someone take out, they had two phones. They had the person next to them hold the phone with the flashlight on, because apparently the flashlight wasn't enough on their own phone to create like a backlighting for the food, picture of the food that they were taking. Actually, the picture, the light went underneath because of the glass table that was frosted. So they put, it did look kind of cool, but it's still, come on, it's food.
Right.
It's eating food, man. And he took, the other person took the flashlight, they put it underneath the table, and they're creating this really cool backlight, effect. And here I am saying, yeah, it's cool, but it's like, dude, you should just live in the moment. And then he uses his phone, and he moved the chair, and there was a server behind him, like, are you kidding me? I got to get by. And he takes a photo, didn't like the first one, took it again, then sat down, and he hadn't even touched the meal. Interacted with anybody at the table. You're like, okay, that guy should play Free Me. He should do a Black Card Challenge.
Yes.
Tell someone they need to eat, they should tell someone they need to, wear tighter pants or bark a love song and just relax. Don't take yourself so seriously. So that, and it's not in a nutshell, because we have the time, I want to go into it. But that's, that's Free Me the game. What do you think?
I've watched the video promoting the game, and I'll include that in the interview here. I was really excited about how this game is going to play out, because it mocks social media, but it also is somewhat playable on social media as well. It also encourages you to spend time with the real people in your lives, which is something that social media has kind of been pushing away from people recently. So I'm a big fan of this concept, and it's something that my friends and I got together, and we get together maybe an hour before we sit down to watch The Walking Dead. Why not play a game of Free Me?
It's right. That's good. During the commercial break, you post your Black Card Challenge, and you can actually now have something to watch in between, because like some Walking Dead fan on the other side of the world or whatever is now they just posted their Black Card Challenge, and it's like, oh, that's pretty ridiculous.
Absolutely.
That's an interesting interpretation of breaking up with your phone. I'm going to give it the teenager's treatment and just not look at it or talk to it. Just a passive aggressive. Whereas Jeff is doing it full on telenovela style with a full on Spanish Latin American accent.
Another thing I absolutely love about it is, like you said, when you're on social media, your shields are kind of up a little bit. You don't want to post anything that can be interpreted poorly. You don't want to post something that'll cast a poor light on you or some of your followers or friends. But when you're around your actual physical friends, that filter's gone.
That's right. That's a good point. That's right. I've never thought of it that way. That filter does kind of go away, doesn't it? Maybe. It's good, clean fun, but also
it could be unclean fun too if everybody agrees to that, and that could make it even more fun.
Well, that's what I was going to say. There might have been a bottle of wine or two that's going into the development of this game where some of these Black Card Challenges have gone there to where it's like, wow, that's hilarious. If that got posted, that's going to get some remarks, and who cares? It'll change the reaction. It'll be a chain reaction of something truthful. I mean, it was truthful. It's just, this is how I was feeling in the moment, and even though I didn't have to say these words, I didn't come up with them, I played a game, and I owned up to the stakes of it, and it completed something that was truthful, which was a game I played with my friends in real time. And that's right. Depending on how how to make your friends laugh, when you do those hashtag battles or those blah blah blog battles, you know how to make your friends laugh.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be different if you're playing with a 15-year-old cousin, or your 55-year-old dad, or your mates who 25. It's like, okay, I can swing this in a couple of different ways. And what's cool is that you're gonna have to start sitting on certain ones, and sometimes you just spontaneously let it go, and that's when it's really fun.
Absolutely. Do you have any other projects coming up that you'd like your fans to know about or to
Yeah.
watch for?
Well, Chappie's out on DVD, on Blu-ray now, which was that's third installment from Neil Blomkamp in District 9, which is awesome. It really created a whole
Absolutely,
subgenre.
I enjoy that series.
Love D9 and Elysium, which I thought was fantastic, which I was lucky enough to be a part of. And I was in Chappie. So Chappie just came out on Blu-ray. I call it It's very, in a very presumptuous way, I say America's new favorite robot. But if you see it, you'll know what I mean. This Chappie's got so much heart, and he learns how to be a gangster from, my character and Ninja and Yolandi, and it's really fun. However, it's got a lot of heart and some fantastic action sequences with Hugh Jackman. That's out now, and I produced a film called Where Hope Grows that did about just over a month in theaters. It was a little engine that could, and it's a faith-friendly film that's got a lot of heart. And if you want to take a step and just take a breath a little bit from horror, and so that the horror can come and live on you even more, then see something that's got a little uplifting elements to it. Where Hope Grows will be hitting DVDs and VOD very, very soon. And finally, this fall, I'm in a new movie called Man Down with Shia LaBeouf, and Gary Oldman is in it, and directed by Dido Montiel. I'm a big fan of all of them, and it was very surreal to be working with them. With Shia again, I did Disturbia with him many years ago, and so it was nice to see him all grown up.
That had to be a little different.
It was different. Yeah, it was different. And acting his pants off, I was like, man, he's a man now. He's playing a Marine, and he's tough, and he put on some muscle, and he's got some scruff to him, and he's still a heck of an actor, and he's very spontaneous, and he's very committed, and he really goes for it. And he actually killed. He killed it in this role. I think that role as drummer in Man Down is going to make a lot of noise for him, and I'm happy to support it and be a part of it.
Sounds great. Sounds like something to really look forward to.
Those are projects I have out, and Kickstarter is going strong for us on Free Me, the game, and I haven't, true to form of the game, I haven't been looking at my phone or computer. I don't know how it's doing right now at the moment, but the last time, before you and I got on the phone, it was somewhere in the 85% funded range. We're on our way, and I would love it if the fans were to check it out at the very least, and put themselves, and maybe this interview has helped fill in some of the blanks to how the game is played and what the stakes and why it's fun, and they'll back our project and help make it a reality, and they can have fun, connecting in a real way with their real friends, with the game that they help bring into the world, which is so cool about Kickstarter. You almost take ownership over it because, I helped make this happen. So
contributors also can get some really cool stuff if they pledge some reasonable amounts here. You can get a first edition deck and get some extra cards. You can get autographed photos that are personalized. There's lots of cool stuff. T-shirts.
Yeah. You can get the copy of the game itself, or you can double your black card challenges with even more daring black cards for just a little bit more. For a little bit more than that, we'll get a card that features myself and a zombie in a social media blunder, and I'll just give it away a little bit here to your viewers, to your listeners or subscribers. My character, or I accidentally spoiled the season finale of everybody's favorite zombie TV show because I forgot about time zone differences, and posted something that somebody died, and now
you pulled a Beth. Oh no.
Yes. Yeah. So now everybody wants to. So I'll sign that card at a certain reward level, which is actually still right around what you would at a convention, but now you get the whole game, and you get that oversized commemorative card. And you go a little bit more, you get T-shirts, and we even have, I don't know if there's any of them left, there's a package where a reward where I will play the game with you online on FaceTime or Skype, which I know is a little like, wait a minute, you're supposed to put everything down, but it's like, well, you have your deck, I have my deck, and we can play via Skype or FaceTime, and then you get to challenge me to a black card challenge. If I lose, and I tell you what, even if I win, I'm still going to do one for you anyway, so you get to watch Badass Martinez acting like, anything that's on that black card, which many times is pretty ridiculous. So it'll be fun, and I don't care if you get together and you guys pool money together, and I turn on the screen and there's 25 people there about to watch me treat my phone like a newborn baby and have to, feed it and go to it, or be a caveman jumping around, or watch me say something really ridiculous to somebody in my contacts that you guys get to help me randomly select. So that could be fun.
Oh yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. To close up, do you have anything you want to ask me?
Well, because I've been so involved with streaming, I just want to say thank you for asking me all those questions about Martinez. You're a great not only fan but writer. You know how to ask the right questions, and
Thank you.
I'm excited for you to watch Sons of Anarchy and Chappie. And just will you get into contact with me and let me know what you thought of those projects? I would love to hear because you have great insight on the movie.
Oh, I absolutely will. Thanks again for your time. It means a lot for you to take time out of your schedule to talk to us.
Thank you.
I know you got a lot going on, and we'd like to wish you the best in all your upcoming projects.
Oh, that's very nice, Adam, and good luck to you with your site as well as your writing, and maybe one day you'll hire me, yeah, and maybe you will, and don't kill me, okay?
I can't guarantee that.
There you go. I like it. Good for you. You know what? Hold on to that. Don't make any promises, because when you get to Hollywood, you want to be able to be that way. I'm not making any promises. I like your honesty, so I think you're going to do just fine. Thank you very much, Adam. Talk to you soon.
Thanks.